Welcome to this week's episode of Esports Wrap. I'm your host, Michael Amargon, and with us we have, of course, our lovely co-host, Dwan.
Hello.
As she hits the microphone.
Sorry.
She's a little bit excited to say hi to everyone.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Just a tad. But, yeah, like our title this week says, the things that we're going to be focusing on are is a game and then an actual topic. So the game is going to be Red Dead Redemption 2. And the topic is real life scenarios that are effectively placed in games to affect the real life. We'll get into what that means in a little bit.
Okay.
But Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a mouthful for a game name.
Tell me about it.
And I mean, a number of people were actually just calling it Red Redemption 2. At first, that's actually what I thought the name was until I actually looked into it.
Me too.
I was like, oh, there's a dead in there. Okay, this makes a little bit more sense, but not really. Essentially, Red Dead Redemption 2 is the sequel of Red Dead Redemption, but is the prequel of Red Dead Redemption. If that makes any sense. It comes before. Chris says just to call it RDR2. That is almost as bad as a mouthful.
Sound like R2. Sounds like R2D2.
I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
Essentially what it is, though, is... So, the game is made by Rockstar Games, and so they're the same people that make the infamous Grand Theft Auto games. So, yeah. And they use a lot of the information that they take from that, and just kind of port a good amount over it. No, these are not the heroes or horses that you're looking for at all.
Oh man.
They use a lot of the infrastructure that they took from Grand Theft Auto and placed it into the, how should I put it, the Wild West. They call it the Wild West. And the time frame for RDR2, I'm gonna stumble over that so much, is actually 1899, or as some people in the official gameplay video says, the late 1800s, between the times of outlaws running rampant and the industrial era. Now, our character that we're playing and the entire storyline is set to happen before the main timeline of the original Red Redemption 2. Red Dead Redemption. Wow, okay. And so the main character inside the first game is actually a younger character inside the second game who's actually not playable. He's an NPC. So you're playing as a completely different character now.
Okay. And
you can't switch between this character. It's a one character only kind of game. So it's not like Grand Theft Auto, we can switch between some characters here and there or anything like that. Even though the game's open world, consider yourself more of a Breath of the Wild type scenario, where you're just playing as Link, not as any of the other characters that are around or anything like that. But that's not to say that the game isn't without its, how should I put it, interesting elements to it. So, to start off with, as you move, you will literally be moving around the area, and your bases will move around depending on how the gameplay moves. And so each time you set up a base, so will your gang. You actually are part of a 23-person gang, yourself included in that, along with your love interest. So yeah, you do have one of those inside the story. You'll be moving bases. You can play games with them, eat, learn more about the people inside your gang, develop relationships with them. This kind of sounds like you can get some side missions from that. The food and supplies and ore that you get will help build up your gang as well. So food, of course, is to feed everyone. Ors, Chris is saying harem. He's calling it. I'm not sure about that. I mean, they do have it where it says, this is the love interest for now. So maybe.
They say that for now.
It essentially alludes to it. Like, yeah. Wow, I was saying no harem, no bi. Love interests, says Chris. You gotta watch out for guys like this.
You gotta talk.
But yeah, essentially you can hunt and you can get the meat to feed your gang. You can sell the pelts. You can go collect ore, sell that as well, and other little random bit bots that you can sell and actually buy items in towns.
Look at my baby.
Your baby?
Yeah, look the club.
Oh, hey Vicky. How are you? She's on Facebook. Right. So what I was saying is that with the stuff that, like how you can talk and build up relationships, how you talk is also going to be affecting a lot of stuff. So essentially, it can get you into, out of trouble. You can stay neutral or even intimidate witnesses because you're a gang, you're an outlaw essentially. To shut up and not tell the law enforcement that you're around there, kind of thing. But doing these kind of things can also have side effects, along with many of your actions. So essentially, families do exist, and there's inside the gameplay trailer, they quite literally have a woman coming up to you and saying like you killed her cousin, and so on and so forth. And like, so yeah, there are some previously built and structured relationships with the NPCs. So things that you do can affect that. They essentially say it's up to you as to how moral or honest this person really is that you're playing. And this can even affect like how your horse is being handled and what your horse acts like. If you mistreat your horse, which is essentially your way of moving around quickly, things cannot get so good. And horses have their own stats, so it's kind of interesting with that.
So it's kind of like Infamous then, with the alignments.
In a sense, yeah, it's actually kind of like that.
We'll see how that goes. I mean, it's the Wild Wild West, so I automatically expected it to be like, like on the side of chaotic good and back.
Yeah, it seems like they're willing to let you be as good or as bad as you want to be.
I was thinking that too, Chris. Westworld.
Yeah, essentially, this plays a lot like Westworld, except you're not a game character that the NPCs aren't going crazy, trying to get into the real world to try to kill everybody. But
that's important.
Yeah.
It's important.
Spoiler alert, I guess. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh wow, deep.
But I mean, if you get a few episodes in the Westworld, that's not too much of a spoiler, I guess. The first season, at least. Wow, plot twist, you're Bernard. Wow, okay.
I don't want to be Bernard.
Well, luckily you are playing as a person called John. Dutch is his last name, and yeah, so you're not Bernard, but you are kind of someone who, I don't know, it kind of looks somewhat similar to Bernard.
Have you played the first one? Because I haven't.
No, neither have I. But this is kind of making me. Thankfully, I didn't hear you. Oh, with the spoiler.
You ever watch Westworld? You need to watch Westworld.
Wow, yeah, you do. You do need to watch Westworld. That's actually a pretty good show.
Yeah, I've never played the first one, so
I'm not sure.
All this is a bit new to me.
I think this might actually be the better way to play it. Play the prequel, then the actual first game, so you can get more of an affinity towards the main character, who's an NPC inside the sequel.
I guess I like playing things like in the order, or like watching things in the order that they were released. So, I'm not sure. I may have to play the first one first.
Hold on. So, how would you watch Star Wars?
Well, I mean, I already watched it. Like they already started out of order, so
I
like
know, but
I've already watched the first set, so it's like if I had a choice, I would watch it the way it was released, which I'm gonna continue doing. But I
that's
don't
true.
like Star Wars, so it's a long pause.
Wow. Okay.
That was a long pause.
That was a
Wow.
deep discovery just then.
You didn't
Uh,
know that?
I
Yeah,
did not
I
know
don't
you did not
really.
like Star Wars.
Uh-uh.
The Force is not with this one, folks.
Nope.
Are you more of a Star Trek kind of fan, or?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chris
I
is.
I like Suzumi Hari, the melancholy of Suzumi Hari, but I don't like Star Trek. Sorry, Star Wars.
Why? I mean, sorry to derail, but like, you'd watch Star Trek, but not Star Wars? Why?
I mean, I would watch Star. I just feel like the franchise needs to just end. You know, it's just been running like a little too long. Just
But I mean, Star
and
Trek has
they're
been running almost as long.
not long enough. Not long enough to me. Not long enough.
Well, see, that's the difference. Like, what makes one better to you than the other? That's what I'm asking.
I mean, I grew up on Star Trek, so maybe that's why I never really. We watched the movies when I was younger, but I never really got into it. I just drew more to watch Star Trek. It's not that big of a deal, Jared. Oh my god.
Dwan,
I feel like I'm being persecuted.
just as a heads up, when we go to New York Comic Con, do not mention that to anyone that you think is not a big deal.
See, I like stuff that is more character focused, like My Hero Academia and stuff like that.
Fair enough.
I won't tell anybody though. I mean, what are they gonna do? Like force me to cosplay? I don't know.
Wow.
What are they gonna do?
Though there actually are more Star Wars cosplayers at these kind of events than Star Trek. That's probably because they have like more vibrant types of outfits, I guess. Than instead of just like a uniform.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway. So what I was talking about was Red. Wow, okay. I did not turn off my phone. Sorry, folks. What I was talking about was the whole treating your horse and everything like that, and how pretty much every action that you take has some consequence to it.
Is it bad that out of all the things I read about this game, that is the one thing that has me the most intrigued? The horse? Like the fact that you have to build because you have to build a whole relationship with this horse, and if the horse dies, you don't see that horse ever again. Like,
nope.
Who does that? That's so cool and so weird. Like,
yep.
Who does that?
Yep. And you actually have to like take care of it. Like you have to groom it and everything like that to keep it up and feed it and stuff like that. Like
that is so amazing.
It's gonna be interesting. I'll put it like that. Though I do wonder, like, because they have different stats, will you like be looking for the best stats and like swapping them out and like how this works? And like as time goes and you continue using the horse, it essentially levels up, it seems like. So
yeah, I'm hoping that you can just level up your horsey and we can be together forever and ever. Because once I get attached to things, so like if I pick a horse, it's gonna feel so bad like switching it out just because another one has better stats, you know?
Chris says screw the horse, get a trade. Oh, don't actually screw the horse. Oh wow. Essentially, yeah, it's close to the industrial age. There's a part in it like where they actually have a transistor set up for electricity. So like someone was doing electrical stuff and like touched one of the senders and like sparked off and stuff like that. So yeah, he was surprised when that happened.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah. Apparently, though, there are going to be different weapons in the game. You're going to have pistols, shotguns, rifles, that kind of stuff. And each one of them, of course, acts differently. There's different recoils, load times, and it seems like they're going to have the Deadeye system, which seems very similar to how McCree does his, except you actually have to center it onto what you want to shoot. Then it has a red dot on it. You move it to the next one, next one, next one. And then after, like, whatever time period that they give you to do that, you then shoot them all off. Instead of with McCree, it's just whatever's in line of sight, and then they all get shot.
So this one, make sure that you're more, I guess, engaged in the game. It's just like it's giving you like that real feel of being a cowboy and like trying to get everyone in before, like, I guess the timer runs out.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, that's what it seems like.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it's not. Overall, though, like, there's also like areas where you can kind of. Wow. Okay, maybe I should not have let that through.
That's funny though.
Bestiality. Oh Lord, let's not do stuff with our horses like that, folks. That's yeah.
The more intimate you are with your horsey, the further away you are, like he's more attuned with you. So like if you call him from a further away distance, like he'll hear you. The more in tune you are with your horse, the better he looks after you. I'm just saying.
You realize like how this is coming off right after that comment, right?
I am sorry. I told you the most interesting part of the game was for me was the horse, so that's what I read about.
And Chris is saying, forget the horse, he just wants to train.
You know, train in this game, baby. Just love your horse.
Yes, it is illegal pretty much everywhere to do that to your horse. So please don't do that
though, Alka.
This is true. He did. Alka's a little confused.
Yeah, like he's making it seem like we brought it up, but we didn't. So
but yeah, overall though, it seems like their idea is to make it seem like you're not even sure if you did a mission in this place. So you can go into a house and you're not sure if what's going to happen when you go inside the house. Either it's empty, it could have stuff inside of it, the owner could be inside of it, and you get into a fight. Like, a bunch of stuff could happen.
You know what I thought was pretty cool? I think they were saying if you approach persons with different things, like you get different prompts. So if you approach someone with a gun in your hand, like they'd be like more, I guess, alert. Mm-hmm. Or like I have like different options. Or like if you approach them with a body slung over your horse, or if you just decide to approach them unmanned. So that was cool. Like even like before you even think you're making a choice, you're making a choice. Yep. So that was pretty cool that they apply those real world aspects to it. Because if I see somebody walking up to me with a gun, I'm probably gonna be agitated. I'm gonna want to leave.
I'm not gonna be like, "Hey neighbor, lovely day we're having today."
Yeah,
like,
you know. Like,
do you want to go like by the brook and go fishing?
Like there was a instance in one of the videos I was watching. I think it was an IGN video, and there was this scene with a fisherman. I think you were beating up somebody, and the fisherman came and he came around the corner and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And you're like, you have the option to like scare him away, and because he's a fisherman, like he's just like, you know what? I don't want no smoke. I don't want no drama. Just continue doing what you gotta do, and I get on this side. So I think that was pretty good that they even like took into account the NPCs and their like professions and stuff like that to determine exactly how it is you as a player and the NPC react to one another. Yeah. So that was good.
Overall though, like I'm looking forward to this game, but there's another reason why I'm also looking. I am. Oh, hey Jay Bruce, welcome to the show.
Hello, Jay.
Chris is saying that he called Cardi B for support to smoke that fisherman.
This fisherman might give her a knot, so we're not gonna do that.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay.
Oh my god, a knot.
The other reason why I was really looking forward to this game Oh, is because this is Rockstar's first time, really and truly ever, making a game for the current gaming consoles and hardware. So none of their other games were actually made for like the PS4 or anything like that, even though they've been out for years. So this is actually their first time. That's why this game looks as nice as it does as well.
Yeah, I've seen the videos. It's really beautiful. I'm hoping that it's not just a bunch of trees and stuff. Like I'm
I'm
hoping like the
hoping.
town, like we get to see different towns and possibly different cultures even.
I'm not
Maybe.
so sure on the cultures element because they're kind of doing the whole Wild West thing. Like, okay, so this is
I
the.
mean, that was around the time of Indians. So
This is true. But I mean,
that would have been nice.
here's the excerpt that they had on their website. J. Bruce asks, but the real question: what makes more cookies look as good as he does? I don't know, JB.
You gotta ask the man himself.
Uh,
These are not the droids you're looking for.
wow. Okay, Chris says the chocolate chips.
Chocolate chips.
But the excerpt that actually is stated on the website says that, quote, America, 1899, the end of the Wild West era has begun.
Why are you
After a robbery goes badly wrong in the western town of Blackwater, Arthur Morgan and the Van der Linde gang are forced to flee, with federal agents and the best bounty hunters in the nation massing on their heels. The gang must rob, steal, and fight their way across the rugged heartland of America in order to survive. As deepening integral divisions threaten to tear their gang apart, Arthur must make a choice between his own ideals and the loyalty to the gang who raised him.
Did you ever have like an ambition to be a voice actor?
No.
I got all great. That's great.
Yep.
Really deep.
I had to commit once I did it, right? Like
I love it though.
But yeah, so there's a lot to this game. There's the graphics, the actual gameplay, the storyline behind it. A lot of it's actually got me going, like really looking forward to this game. Even though I've never played the game before, I've only played a few of the Grand Theft Auto games. But I'm really looking forward to it.
I'm just interested in seeing how they like transition into that open world without it being too boring, because that's what Grand Theft Auto, like after a while that's what it was. There was just so much stuff to do and so repetitious that it eventually got boring. And then I'm wondering how the story is gonna be in regards to its predecessor, like how they're gonna, that transition is really important, especially when you're bridging the gaps between when it's not in sequence. That's what I want to say. So I am really interested in seeing. I want to know how to do with the story first, and I guess everything will come after. Because I'm more, when I play games, I play for story more so, story wise. So I'm just really interested in how they do that. Yeah, like I'm not gonna allow myself to get too hyped. Like I seeing stuff that I like, mind you, and it's like the small things. But I don't know if I can say like I'm really, really hyped like how I was for Spider-Man or God of War or something.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like I feel like how I felt with Anthem, where I'm just like watching it to see where it goes. So we'll see. I'm interested, but
cautiously interested.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm pretty much the same way. I'm looking forward to it. Like my level of interest is high, I'll say. But I can also see it going wrong. I'm glad that it's not multiplayer and they decide to keep it single player, just because of like how the story will play out. And
they did?
Like yeah, it's a single player game.
No co-op.
No co-op.
No
Doesn't
online
seem so.
play.
Nope. It's like one of the original like Grand Theft Auto games. You just play as that one single character.
Oh no, that's gonna pan out. That would have been a good opportunity, especially with the gangs.
Yeah.
I feel
But
like they may have dropped the ball on that. We'll see.
but then again, I mean, some of the gang are just basic characters like a fish, well, a fisherman slash cook.
Oh, it's like fish.
You know, it's not like a fish like. Blah, 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 blah. The look on Dwan's face for those who aren't watching right now is
I
priceless.
really don't need you to pursue anything in regards to acting, like at all, like nothing.
How would you? Okay, Dwan, how would you act as a fish?
Wait, yeah. Bloop, bloop, bloop. Like that.
Bloop, bloop, bloop. Okay.
Yeah. Fish don't make noise, so you just float along.
Okay. Okay.
I wouldn't mind a fish.
First horse, now fish. So you can recruit all the animals.
If I could get a butterfly in there, that'd be great.
So how would you do with a butterfly?
Don't worry about that. Butterfly actually is a symbol of healing, and it indicates that a healer is in the area. So don't sleep on butterflies in games or in folklore and any type of story.
Don't they also have something to do with mind control and like stuff like that as well? And symbolism of mirrors? And the supernatural? Yeah.
I don't know about all of that.
But yeah. Next up, we have the other topic that we were talking about a little bit earlier. Real life stuff happening in games. So this topic really spun off of something that happened in the recent Spider-Man game, where on the theater board, someone had contacted Insomniac Games and pretty much wanted a proposal to happen for his girlfriend Maddie. And so when you actually go there, it says, "Maddie, will you marry me?" So that would have been fine and dandy and stuff like that, except that, you know, this is a game that's going out to a few 100 million people probably at some point. I'm guessing a good chunk of them will probably be called Maddie. And probably will have girlfriends called Maddie, and then when they're playing that and their girlfriend Maddie is in the background watching them play, then they're like, oh, look at that. The actual story behind it is not a fun one. It's actually a little sad. Essentially what happened, the original story that came out was that this guy did all this and got approval by Insomniac Games. They put it there. But before the game came out, his girlfriend broke up with him. And originally he's saying that she left him for his brother, which sounds like some Jerry Springer type crap. Follow up to like recently, the girlfriend is saying that, you know, there was a lot of issues that essentially happened before the breakup, and he just did not seem to put in the effort to make it work. She gave him a month and he didn't put in the, like, he didn't change her mind, so she left him. And he then asked his brother to check up on her, and then their relationship kind of blossomed from there.
Oh, he asked his brother.
That's what she's saying.
Oh, you played yourself.
But apparently them talking,
I didn't know that.
yeah, apparently them talking started this, essentially. Like with him seeing if she's alright, I'm guessing emotional maybe, and so like kind of like when you're in a low point, someone comes in, yeah, that kind of thing. But this raised up the other issue, like, well, I mean, for starters, why do it in a public setting like that? Like, this was actually like a debate inside of one of our WhatsApp groups, where people were like, why do that, for starters? Like, you should do this something privately. And I mean, there are some good examples of doing things privately. People have made their own games, like legit full-fledged games. People have made levels in Minecraft. People have actually gone to developers to make special modded versions. Like, for example, Portal 2. There's a modded version of it where GLaDOS, the voice actor for GLaDOS, actually voiced the proposal saying, you know, person's name, will you agree to become X person's wife? And
That's cool.
I mean, yeah, and like it had its own like level and like a little studio, well, a little church kind of setting to it, where GLaDOS is the supposed like priest or JP or whatever it is. Though, you know, there are some ones that go wrong as well. So, for example, I'm going to start on the lighter one. In Borderlands, the original Borderlands, there's a section in there where a character name is Clapback, which is a robot, essentially had a recorded session, like in the game, where it's like, where it asks the person, where it starts off like, okay, so what am I doing here? It's just like, what's the name of the person and that I'm asking to propose to, and so on and stuff like that, and like the developer or whatnot in the background is like, the person's name is this and blah 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 blah, and there's like a little dialogue behind it. And so she's like, okay, well, you know what do you want to do? Will you marry is on this side, and then a little like rickshaw wooden option is like say no on the other side. And when if you click will you marry them, they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's, you know, that happened, but fair warning, you know, robots don't get STDs. So he's kind of like hitting on her. Yeah, the robot is essentially hitting on the girl before like she can really get her question, like her answer off.
What's the name of this robot again?
Clapback.
Clapback. He's so funny.
Or you could have it really, really bad, where there's a guy who was porting a game over from an older system to the Game Boy Advance with a game called Clax. And the game's name is Micah. And he tried to put in his proposal to his girlfriend as a hidden level in the game.
I don't really see any of these working out unless your girlfriend is a gamer.
See, now I'll get to that in a second. But what happened with this one really is not all that great, because years later, a magazine finally came up to the guy who ported over the game and was like, so are there any secret levels or secret things inside this game? And he's like, yeah. There's this level here, and here are the instructions on how to get to it. So magazine was printed. He bought the magazine, put it down, bought the copy of the game, put that down, so his girlfriend could see it. And it took her, essentially, when she saw it, she played it and found the proposal. This is 3 years after he put the proposal in. 3 years.
That's good. You should just propose at an old-fashioned maybe. Like, why are you being so extra?
3 years. You did not
Did
ask
she
your
say
girlfriend
yes?
out. Yes, she did. But 3
She's
years.
a patient woman.
I don't know what is wrong with him. What
is wrong with any of them unless they're like, that just seems like too much work. And like we were saying earlier, like it's this discussion that has to be made. Like clearly they weren't talking.
Yeah.
So like it loses everything.
Chris is saying that they're
Chris, shut up.
Chris says they're
like,
meant for each other.
I was trying to get my thoughts together, and I look at the chat, and it's just. Yeah, man, that's too long. 3 whole years, babe.
That's long. And it doesn't seem like he really asked her to marry him in that time.
Right?
Like, why else would you do that? Like, why else would you
just
lay everything down?
You just had to get engaged in this certain specific way. Like this specific way. You really have to have a weird girlfriend.
Yep.
For her to be okay. For her to be okay with that. I mean, not saying that is bad. Just saying.
So you had to be patient.
Yeah, but not everybody. You just saw the Spider-Man article. That don't work out for everybody.
No, not at all. And then the thing
also,
It
Go
had their
ahead.
photo inside of it with her kissing him on the cheek.
I have a question. And it's pertaining to something that was said in the chat. So I have a question.
Okay.
So in the chat, y'all's basically in the chat, in regards to the Spider-Man thing, y'all basically saying that it was wrong of him to talk about it because it was supposed to be a private thing, blah blah blah. Blah. So what's the difference between the Spider-Man proposal and this proposal? That she said yes. That's it.
No, I mean, for me personally, you shouldn't put it out there in a public setting like that. That's as bad as like.
Any
Do you
for
remember?
any of them.
Yeah, you shouldn't like. Do you remember? For those of you who don't know, we live in the Bahamas and we have an event called Junkanoo. And it's pretty much a place very similar to a carnival kind of, or like Rose Parade, but much more colorful. People in like costumes, and anyway, there's a lot like more to it. If I remember correctly, it was maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, where someone decided to propose during Junkanoo. Like it was the people's like stood up in front of her or something like that, and like did the "Will you marry me" sign, and he jumped over the fence and asked her like, or bowed down or something like that, and she got up and walked off, left him there cold. This is in front of the
Seriously?
essentially entire nation because this is also streamed on TV. So yeah, see, Chris remembers that.
I don't. When was this?
Like 2 or 3 years ago, during one of the
Yeah. See,
Junkanoo events.
I
Like
don't follow Duncan.
that made its rounds on social media and everything like that. So that, yeah,
Wow.
that went far. But this is another reason, like, why go public with this kind of stuff? This kind of stuff, do it in front of family, friends, max.
That's because everyone. That's just the generation we live in now. Everything is just, oh, I need people to see, to feel validated, and all this dumb stuff. So, and you have people who enable it.
This
Yeah,
is
so you
true.
gotta go viral. You won't live till you going viral. Take it from me.
I think what Chris was saying inside of the WhatsApp group earlier, before the show, was that essentially you have to know your partner well enough to know that they're going to say yes if they see you do something like this, not just have a
I think
feeling or a guess.
relationships are a risk, though. So, are you really ever gonna know, like 100%?
This is true. I mean,
You
sometimes
may
you do.
think.
Sometimes like
So you may
it's
think you
almost a
know.
guaranteed thing. Sometimes.
Maybe. Yeah, because you might think you know, but because what my thing about it in the group was the telling of the sides, like because it could go either way. Like I didn't feel comfortable picking a side because either one of them could have been lying, like about in regards to the Spider-Man thing. Like either
Yep.
one of them could have been lying. Leaving out like a vital piece of detail, like she could have cheated on him, and he might have been getting over it. And to the side of Mario, like something like you never know what had happened.
Yep.
So she
And
could have very well been talking to his brother that whole time and was just looking for an excuse to leave. Like,
this is all true. I think one of the questions that was asked as well, like before the show, was if you guys broke it off, why wait until the game is actually out there and people are seeing this before actually saying, you know, maybe you should change this before you guys go live?
I don't know, man.
Now apparently he's like asked him, because he posted it, they came back and said like, well, do you want us to change it to anything? And now he made it like a memorial to his grandmother or something like that, who's the person who like got him into Spider-Man, essentially.
So after everybody saw it, then he got the name Maddie changed his grandmother's name.
Well, that'd be kind of weird if he got his grandmother's name changed to "Will you marry me?" But essentially, it
He
became
could
like
change the whole message.
that's what happened. Yeah, he changed the message to like memorialize his grandmother. But then you also got other things like in Dying Light, the original one. So you probably, well, we played Dying Light 2 together. And Dying Light, the original one, had a mission inside of it where Essentially, you start the mission off, and it would be like a scavenger hunt kind of thing, where you go collecting notes from a doomed survivor. Hey, Leppy was
That's it.
here. Welcome to the show. We're actually talking about uh, real life events being affected in games. Um, so if you have questions about what we're talking about, feel free to like message them in chat, and we'll answer.
I am personally like a very private person, so if somebody like I feel so on the spot, man, like I feel like like you kind of like trying to manipulate me to say yes. So that feels so weird.
And then
I don't know.
some of them can be a little like, because of the effort, it can really kind of push you a little bit as well. Like the one that I was talking
Yeah,
about.
like that's well, I don't know. Just let me beat my thoughts. Like with just me, you and me. I down on one knee, you down on one knee, whatever it is, and let me just decide.
Yeah.
I feel like at a certain point, like you should know whether or not, like even if like y'all didn't speak about it, like you should know within yourself, hey, do I want to spend the rest of the life with this person? You should know that by now. Like so, by the time like that conversation comes up or they actually pop that on you, like you should know whether you want to say yes or no.
Uh,
And
just as a quick thing though, HD gaming, like, I'm glad you feel that way, and you know, I'm glad you're not about to do what you're saying you're gonna do if like, this is actually true. But I would recommend that you also talk to some friends or a loved one that can actually like be there for you as well, and actually help you through whatever it is that you're going through. If you need to, I would also highly suggest either going to like a group therapy session or going one-on-one and speaking with a mental therapist.
help
Just
professional, yeah.
yeah, just to help you go through these things. There's no harm in it. There's no judgments that will happen. Some of these things are also, they can happen free, so don't feel bad about it. um, and don't worry about cost. For it all depends on where you go, but the important thing is that whatever you're going through, it's only temporary. You can always make it out. And so
Yeah, you feel if you don't want to actually speak to someone in person, you can actually they have like apps on stuff that you can download as well, or a phone conversation. Yeah, like with Ty Colonel just posted, so you
right,
don't actually have to be there to speak to someone if you're incapable of getting there.
right. And he's saying, because I'll just read it out for those who are listening to the podcast as well. But if you're in the US, please call 800-273-TALK. It's important that you talk to someone about whatever it is that you're going through. Don't bottle it in. Don't hold it to yourself. Talk to someone. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
please don't do that.
yeah. Getting back into the show though, I do agree, like sometimes you do need to just take some time and get like process these things mentally, that like if someone's trying to propose to you. But and there are times when things that are actually happening in the game can try to push you over. It's almost like a subconscious thing. Like the Dying Light one, for example. You go through all this quests and stuff like that, so you already start to get invested into it. And then once you get to the top of this building or something like that, there's this chest that you open up, and it has a letter, roses, fireworks go off, rose petals fall down from the top of the screen, and it says like, person's name, will you marry me? And like that's a lot to process right then and there. And like the other one is someone who made an entire Minecraft level, like with roller coasters and everything. Not necessarily Chris. Chris is asking if it's bad to propose with a scavenger hunt, but at the same time, like, you gotta be careful with how you do it, because this could have gone just as badly as with the Spider-Man thing.
That's what like that's what I was trying to say. Like initially, like it's with any proposal, so I don't feel like it was. I feel like it was too much to be like, oh, you're wrong for this, you're bad for this, you shouldn't have posted it out in public. Like all of them, like if you're gonna condemn one, you have to condemn all. That's how I feel.
Kind of.
So that's why I was like, what's the difference between like the difference? I mean, yeah, she said yes, but then at the same time, like they all went public. They all like went through all this effort to get someone to say yes to them. When personally, I just feel like it should have just been the two of y'all, maybe a few close friends or something. Because at the end of the day, you don't want somewhere down the line like the person feel like they almost pressured into doing that. You know what I mean? I don't know about other people because my mind was wander a lot. So I would have been thinking like, does she feel like did I pressure him or did I pressure her or like, you know what I mean? Like that's a lot to process in that moment, and I don't know. I feel like that should have been everything should have been private.
I
but
get.
then like I said, I'm a private person.
Yeah, I get the reasoning why people do this kind of stuff. Like you want to show that you worked hard for it, that you're invested in it, that you're creative, this, that, and the next. And there are versions of stuff like this that actually kind of come off in a fairly good manner. Like for example, there's a modded version of a Pokemon game. So like you kind of start off like the game and stuff like that, and you go to Professor Oak, and then you choose your Pokemon, and the one that the person would have, I think this is how it goes at least, the Pokemon that the person more than likely would have chosen is holding an item. And so they get the Pokemon, and then it says, oh, the person's this Pokemon is holding an item. Do you want to see what it is? Yes. Wedding ring. Do you want to marry? It's one-on-one. It's personal. It's not going out anywhere because it's only that one person that's playing the game.
Right.
And so like stuff like that, I can kind of see it. Versus like Dying Light, Spider-Man 2, stuff like that. Like that is going out to a wide audience. I mean, even the Portal 2 version of the modded content, that's just a modded level that you can install. So that's not even out to the main public. Many persons would never see that unless they specifically download that. Then of course there's the Minecraft ones where it can just be like that one server, so like that no one else has access to.
I don't know. I like you guys said earlier, it all depends on the person. Like if the person doesn't mind that kind of showy stuff or like being put on the spot, then I guess it's fine. But if they don't, like the lady, like Mari, like you should supposed to know that like beforehand.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make any sense crying about it. Like you played yourself. So
essentially, yeah, you did. Yep. And we may never know the truth about that particular situation, because there's always 3 or more truths or sides. It all depends on which side you decide to actually listen to. And if one of those is going to be the truth, but you won't really know which one.
Oh yeah. Everybody has their own truth.
Yeah, exactly. So,
yours, mine, and the actual truth. Like the actual thing that happened.
Yep. So. Like they say, it's your truth, my truth, and the actual truth.
Yep.
So.
And Mari truth was that he wasn't paying attention though, and so that cost him. His truth was he probably was busting his head by work, trying to make sure everything was perfect, only to get blindsided by a breakup.
Yep.
And it hurt him. So yeah, he was hurt. I would have been hurt.
I'd have been hurt too. I ain't gonna lie. I am not gonna lie. But
yeah.
I would have still like messaged him back and say, "Can you guys like take this out?"
Yeah, because the shame would have killed me. The shame.
But it's not even the shame. It's playing the game and then seeing that.
That would have killed me.
Knowing I asked for that.
I couldn't. I don't know how he just left that there. That was his bad. That's where he went wrong. It wasn't the fact that he went through all of that to get her to say yes. It's the fact that he left it there. That's where he went wrong. That was it. Like that's the only thing I give him wrong for. Because like they said, he's a developer, so obviously he's like working a lot of hours or whatever. You
Yep.
also have to take into fact that maybe she wasn't being understanding of his job and the hours that it entailed. Like y'all been together for how long? You don't know. That's like wives who get upset, uh, husbands who will like work late hours. Like you know exactly the kind of man you married, so or
Yep.
like you were in a relationship with. So how you can get mad when he's continuously been working all these hours, like to make sure everything is like okay in the house and whatnot. So it's like she knows exactly what she was getting into as well. So I can't really just say, oh, it's his fault. You know what I mean? Like there's so many different ways you could look at that situation,
Yep.
but he should have taken it out.
Yeah. And I mean, most of the situations, most of the examples I gave today ended off with them saying yes. This isn't even taking into account all the ones that ended with no and never got shared. So
True.
you want to be careful with this kind of stuff. Sure, these Easter eggs can be fun, they can be nice. And I mean, it's great if you make your own game and like you just have the person play and you say like you make it sound like this is something that you're gonna make for the general populace, when in truth, it's only for that one person. But you know, be careful. If you're gonna do something like this, be careful. If you're gonna do anything that the public will then see, be careful.
Not even the public. If you're gonna do anything, what at the end of the day is gonna risk your happiness or your well-being, like your mental health. Like you have to think about that, because I can only imagine the backlash both of them going through right now. So
This is true.
or even people who just like close to them, like the boyfriend. Like everybody, like everyone knows Maddie's full name, so like they're
Yep.
automatically gonna know who she's dating. So like that's gonna affect him too. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Now
I
that I think about it, he probably left that in there to get back at his brother.
could be. Could be. Thanks for following, by the way, Pluto V8.
Thank you.
Um I mean that's another element of it that I didn't even consider, to be quite honest. But yeah, so today, wow. Yeah. We kind of went a little deep in a number of places, but
Oh,
uh,
I can't see the comments.
no, that's just me thinking about like the show so far.
Oh, yeah.
Um but yeah, I mean Easter eggs are generally fun, and they can be like. Oh, thanks for the follow, Pluto. Sorry, thanks for
Thank
the
you.
host, I should say. Um, again though, like there are some Easter eggs that you need to be wary of doing in big games. Like that's my entire thing. Um, but anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. Yeah, Dwan?
Yeah, I think I got everything else.
Yeah. So I'd like to thank everyone that decided to jump on, join into the chat. Thank you, Ty, Chris, for being with us up to this point.
The evil one.
This is an evil one. Thank you, Pluto, for hosting us and following. And Pluto's saying, "I'ma get people to watch this. You finna blow. I'm at least try." Well, actually, we are about to end, Pluto. But what you could do, keep an eye out. We generally stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. On
Thank you,
Tuesdays,
Pluto.
yeah. Tuesdays is Esports Wrap. Thursdays is More Tech, which is our tech-based show. And we do have a Discord, so you can keep in contact with us and actually like be part of the community. So that should be inside the about section below if you're watching it. You can also follow us on Twitter or like YouTube or whatever it is. We also have a podcast if you just want to listen to the audio version. But yeah, that was our show for this week with Esports Wrap. And of course, I would like to thank my co-host for coming on, Dwan.
Yay! You're welcome.
So until Thursday, which is more tech, or if you're just here for Esports Wrap, see you next Thursday. No, next Tuesday. Take care.
Bye bye.